we have something very similar to that. So when we talk about al-adl, we talk about giving everyone. Alaykum as-salam al-ikram. Go ahead. We give everyone what he deserves, based on laws, based on so many, things, as we are gonna explain. Another meaning for that, they say al-adl يضع الأمور مواضعها. كيف؟ يعني when you apply something, you apply it taking into considerations certain requirement. Those requirements could be legislations, conditions, or things that God create. You have to take it into consideration. Okay? When it comes to al-adl, والقسمة بالسوية, and just name it, we have a misunderstanding. Because some people take al-adl as what? As equality. So, I gave an example just a few minutes ago. People are racing, everyone is putting his or her efforts. By the end of the racing, we had a couple winners. What do I say? Oh, you know what? You get the same trophies. You say, this is not fair. Oh, what did you say? Not fair. يعني against what? Against adl. So what's adl? Why here is not fair? Yeah, who said so? Because you felt the competition here is based, and the trophies are based on what? On efforts. And I put efforts more than that person. So why we are on the same level? So it's more like what? Legislation. You say this is against what usually people command. Okay? Or what the game, requires. So when I say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, you, I give you a very simple example. When it comes to inheritance, in Islam, if a person passes away and he leaves behind him a boy and a girl, 2 kids, do they get the same amount of inheritance? So the first question would be, hey, that's not fair. You give them equal amount. So how come in the race you did not say this? In the race example, when they were racing, did we accept to give everyone the same amount? Our trophy? We said no. So why here you want to consider this as what? Not fair. Based on what? Yeah, but the Quran is saying everyone has to get the same amount of money and the inheritance. So why I consider this adl? So indirectly, al-adl is not considered only by itself. There is also wisdom behind it. Otherwise, how you are going to know this is the proper adl solution? This is the proper justice. How? Sometimes justice might go wrong route. So al-adl goes in parallel with what? With hikmah, which is wisdom. وضع الشيء في موضعه. Okay? So back to the example. You tell me, okay, Sheikh, I know it's off the record a little bit, but how come a boy inherits twice what a girl does? Why? Is that fair? What's the answer? So we have to check the whole platform. You cannot just select one item, criticizes, that item and you do not know other factors. It's like when we were talking about racing. You said, oh, it's not fair to give every participant a trophy. Why? What did you say? Your brain took into consideration, your intelligence, your logic took into consideration what? That these people, they put efforts more than others. These people, they were practicing days and nights, and the other guy who failed was having fun. That's not fair, you tell me. So, when it comes to inheritance, for example, when it comes to inheritance, in Islam, okay, you tell me, you got that boy, that kid, that child, he got money more than his sister. That's not fair. Ya Habibi, you missed so many things. If there is something happening to the daughter, to the mom, who's going to take care of that? Who's responsible with his mom? The man or the boy or the daughter? The daughter. No, the boy. Who has to help his mom? That man, that kid. I'm talking about as laws. In real life, different story. Who has to support the family? Okay, let's see it from different dimension. If I want to get married, who has to pay the dowry in Islam? The man. Who has to support the family? The man. If the lady in Islam is working, does she have to pay in the utilities of her house, blah blah blah, or that's the job of her husband? If she is making money and earning money more than the husband, does the husband have the right to force her to pay anything in the house? No. Well, she has to pay her credit card, okay, if it's personal use or student loan. But anything has to do with the house, who's going to be responsible? And just name it, so many other expenses and responsibilities upon what? The man. You end up, who's making more money? Yeah. But if you take it by itself, you're going to question it, as you were questioning the racing. Is that clear? So al-adl goes in parallel with al-hikmah, with wisdom. Where is our problem in al-adl? We have a school of thought like al-Asha'ira. They had some weird explanation of al-adl in certain details in Islam, which we call it, all Muslims believe Allah is what? Adl, fair, just. So why they say about الشيعة والمعتزلة العدلية? In our عقائد المذهب, عقائد المذهب, what they are? المذهب means school of thought. What are those? الإيمان بالله, توحيد, نبوة, العدل, الإمامة, والمعاد. So why we add al-adl? Other Muslims, they believe in adl. But why we insist on it? Because there was a big struggle among Muslims before, when it comes to certain details. And I gave you an example before, and I am going to repeat it. What if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided يوم القيامة that everyone goes to Jannah? Is that up to him? Yeah. You tell me that's not adl, but it is what? Mercy. Okay, I'm fine. What if it's the opposite? Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yawm al-qiyamah has the right, and it is let's remove the word right, is it acceptable, logically acceptable, that Allah yawm al-qiyamah would put all people in Jahannam wal-'iyadhu billah? Why do you say no? Here we start having argument among Muslims. Al-Asha'ira, اللي منهم السنة, they say it's up to Allah. لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. You do not question God. It's up to Him. الشيعة المعتزلة, what did they say? This is قبيح. Our logic that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us to know who is a prophet, who is not. How do we know whether this is a prophet or not? Through emotions or logic? Rational thinking, logic. That same logic, it tells us through the teachings of the Quran and abstract logic and the teaching of Ahlul Bayt, that it is against Islamic common sense, because we have a global common sense and we have Islamic common sense. It's against common sense, yani this common sense that we build through what? 100% authentic teachings in Islam. It becomes like common sense. It's like Salah. Is there Salah in Islam? You tell me what? It's common sense. There is Jannah and Nar in Islam. What do you call it? Yeah, man, common sense. What are you talking about? Isn't it? So this is based on religion. We have common sense. It stands by itself. Has nothing to do with any religion or background. Like I have an apple and I have another apple, and guess what? They are one apple. You tell me it's against common sense. Whether you are in India, China, على Lebanon, Khalil, على Janab, okay? Those are what? Common sense. Only human developed such kind of what? Common sense, understanding. We come to Al-Adl. If everyone goes to Jahannam, it's up to Allah to put them Jahannam or not. I tell him, hey, this is qabih. And that's why we had a big struggle among Muslimin. We call it مسألة الحسن والقبح العقليين. It's a big argument. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. الحسن والقبح العقليين. يعني if there is something you feel it is wrong, is it because Allah said it is wrong, or your logic also can judge it is wrong? يعني in other words, the argument is one of the colors of the argument. Is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might order you to do something wrong? Or in your fitrah and in your understanding does not make sense, it is ugly? Like if we take a look at so many things in our fatawa or in Islam in general. Al-kadhib, lying. Is it haram because Allah said so, or lying by itself is something what? Bad? Some school of thoughts, what did they say? It is bad because God said bad. If we're to be the opposite, it would be what? That's their statement. The Shia, what did they say? Generally speaking, we have certain things, they are clear cut. They are bad, whether God told us or not. We know they are bad. Why? Because God, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah guided us to know. Because He educated us. He showed us this Islamic understanding and common sense. And that's why that school of thought, they say it's up to Allah maybe to put everyone in Jahannam, whether he is good or not. You tell him, what? This is bad. He will tell you, who told you it's bad? It's not up to you, it's up to Allah. This is what we call al-husn. Al-husn يعني good. Wal-qubh يعني شو? Bad consequences. Al-aqliyain يعني related to what? Logical understanding. Clear? But all the Muslims, they say Allah is adil when it comes to general things. Where's the problem? When it comes to details. Questions about this? Questions? But guess what, guys? Without paying attention, you might go to without paying attention, you might be mimicking other school of thoughts. Example. If I tell you, for instance, playing in a gambling instrument, but not for gambling. Let's say playing card. Okay? According to some scholars, it's haram. What's your answer right away? Oh, does not make sense. It is just Uno or I don't know what they have games. Huh? Why? Why? You say. You asked this, isn't it? Why is it haram? I'm fine, but behind it there is what? You have a reason. So in other words, is it possible that you have some fatawa, your brain say, hey, this does not make sense? Or more than that, might say, hey, this is bad, this is wrong. So when it comes to details, the task would become what? More complex. Yani in general stuff, yani lying, you tell me, yeah, it is haram, and our intelligence will tell us what? It's haram. Murdering someone, it is what? Haram. Whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we call them global or international ethics. Among all people. Killing a human is what? Bad. Whether, you know, there is the Quran or Quran did not talk about it, you say right away it is bad. And you bring Quran to prove it is bad, yani in other ways. Okay? So, cheating, bad. And Islam said it is bad. So what they do, they go back to all the haram things and they prove to you that every haram has what? Has bad consequences. Good? Nowadays, especially Gen Z, they have totally different mentality. They challenge you. Why if a fish has no scale is haram to eat? You are telling me everything haram, there is what? A reason. It is bad for me, isn't it? Because you are telling me my intelligence, al-husn wal-qubh al-aqliyain. Yani there is a reason why. Because God is wise. You remember the idea? Because God is wise, when He's saying this is haram, there is a reason. And when there is something halal, there is what? A reason. So tfaddal, why a fish with no scales is haram to eat? Where's the problem? Oh, why, you know, playing card, for instance, in fiqh, because this is nowadays, or chess, it is haram. Why? Oh, because you waste time. Ya Habibi, I waste time on PlayStation more than... That's not a reason. I'm not questioning the fatwa. I'm questioning what? The wisdom behind the fatwa. There's a big difference. A fatwa, I submit to it, okay? I have no problem if I follow that scholar. My concern is to know the wisdom behind it. Because as a Shi'i, I believe there is what? A reason for this to be haram, and a reason. Some scholars, they might find a solution. They will tell you some haram things, maybe they have spiritual impact on you. Some of them, they might have indirect negative effect into society. I give an example. One time I gave an example. Like meat. You slaughter an animal. They are twins. Same farm, same everything. This animal, you said, okay, Bismillah. And the other animal, you did not say Bismillah on purpose. Can I eat the one I did not say Bismillah on? No. Why Islam is saying this is okay to eat and this one is not okay to eat? Can my brain figure out what is good, what's bad here? Maybe. Okay? But maybe sometimes it is hard for our brain to understand the wisdom when it is indirect. Because Islam maybe wants to tell you, who gave you the right to slaughter an animal? Who gave you the right? Secondly, maybe he wants to build, to make the whole market of meat in the hands of Muslims. So when you as a Muslim, you control the animal, the farms, the land, the river, and you slaughter the animals the proper way, you are guaranteeing there is organic food, or at least it is not a road-killed animal, because the Arab used to eat road-killed animals. Here in some states, it is legal. In some states, it's legal, to eat it. Islam said, no, you're not allowed to. So when I am giving the meat market to the Muslims, what I'm doing? I'm guaranteeing fresh meat. I'm guaranteeing tahara, which is purity. I'm guaranteeing the market, it's in the hand of a specific people. So no enemies will be in charge of controlling the meat market and put me down. Why? Because when you control the meat market, indirectly what you are controlling? The dairy, yogurt, milk, leather, jibne, cheese, land, water, fertilizers. It's a big deal. So maybe there is a wisdom that way. I do not know. Okay? So when it comes to al-adl al-ilahi, and when it comes to legislations, we might know it. Sometimes we might not. Sometimes maybe the fatwa is wrong. That's a different story. So here we are talking about legislation. Why I'm bringing these issues? Because I don't want anyone to say, Sheikh, that's not fair. Yani the man has the right to divorce, but I don't have the right to divorce myself. Where is, the justice of God? No, that's wrong. The question is wrong. Islam is telling you, I'm giving you examples, okay? Islam is telling you, when it comes to marriage is a contract. You can say in the contract, I should have the authority to divorce myself under these circumstances. You can put these. If you do not put them, it's not Islam's problem. Is it not? It's not this. No. Because the family is structured through history that way in the beginning, the default of it. And there is a reason. Okay? Usually, men are not as quickly getting into divorce as the other party, usually. I mean, from what we see cases. Okay? And maybe this is one of the reasons. And that depends on the education of the two partners, the, certain circumstances, the way they were raised, blah, 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 blah. If, maybe in certain areas, if they are very civilized, well-educated, they have a mutual understanding, you tell me this does not fit here. It could be. But Islam is dealing with default global issue. And that's why it kept it flexible. Okay? If you want to be in charge, okay, put it in the contract. It's like in Islam, took it as a default, who has to run the family and work. And it doesn't make sense in Islam. A person tells a lady, go work, and he is having argile. Islam will tell you what? This is not acceptable. Who has to work and to provide to the family? The man. You tell me, no, I want to be in charge. Okay, it's a different story. It's between you and your husband. Okay, so this is as far as legislation. Where is our problem? Our biggest problem is not here. Because overall, it's a legislation, and when it comes to legislations, we might have different opinions, different ideas, different whatever. Our problem somewhere else. Sheikh, what about an earthquake that killed 10,000 kids? Is that fair? What about a person, he was born with cancer? Is that fair? What about a person who is blind? Is that fair? Where is the justice of God? What about all these wars we see on Earth? I don't know other planets, but at least on Earth, okay? You have different aliens. Is that fair? What's the answer? I'm asking you. What's the answer here? I'm sorry? طب يا أخي, why يعني a nice guy, he had heart attack, a person who is so bad and ruining the country and, knocking down other countries. God made him survive till he reaches 110 years old. Okay, is that fair enough question? I don't care about akhirah now. My concern is here, because my talk is not just for the believers. My talk is also directed to atheists. We have atheists, they raise these questions. How I'm going to answer them? We tell them there is akhirah, that's a different story. I'm sorry?
Maybe Allah wants us so حتى يكون في diversity عشان يعني we appreciate the blessings Allah gave us.
Yani now diversity does not work unless we have wars, or earthquakes, or tornadoes, or volcanoes, or I don't know what else, or maybe little by little cloning dinosaurs. We have limited free will. So why God from the beginning did not create good free will? Okay, let me maybe make it simple on you. When you say this problem or that problem, we are referring to a very basic idea, which we call it evil. Because do you consider blindness something a blessing? It could be, but by nature. Okay. Having shaitan with us somehow, is that something fair? It's not fair? Wow. But God is just. So the concept would be, if you remember, we discussed this a little before. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق. So we have creatures that they deliver something bad. Some translations are wrong. They said the evil that God created. No. God does not create evil. And this is the basic concept here. Before we talk about al-adl al-ilahi, we have to understand what is good, what is bad, when something I can consider good, and when there is something I considered bad. So, the first concept we should talk about, do we have anything in this universe that God created and we consider evil? Is there something created in this universe called evil? Or evil is something relative? That's the first concept. We have to discuss this. Before we talk about al-adl al-ilahi, the justice of God. You tell me, yeah, earthquake. Earthquake to you is evil. To you it's bad. Maybe for other 10 million people it is what? Nature is adjusting itself. Maybe. I'm talking about natural disasters now, okay? You tell me, yeah, but this poor kid, look what's happening to him. First of all, who told you this is the will of God? Allah created the laws. I made a knife. I sell knives. I don't, but it's just a metaphoric thing. For salad, fattoush, tabbouleh, okay? You go use that knife to kill someone. Is it my problem? I created laws and DNAs. That genetic system, when the mom was pregnant with that baby, she took certain medications and she was exposed to chemicals. Because of that kid was born not normal. Do I say this is God's problem? Is that God's problem? You tell me, yeah, because he put laws. Well, I have to put laws. In Jannah, I will say God will compensate him. You tell me, but God could have prevented this. Yeah, but God from the beginning said, what? وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدَرٍ. I put measurements, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create things through what? Laws. يعني أنت هلا a lady is pregnant, she can deliver a baby like after 1 day. والله AliExpress يعني مثلا. We have laws. هلا later on you tweak that laws through another law. That's a different story. But Allah run things through what? Laws. Certain times we have lutuf, we have lutuf ilahi. Certain times. But this is not always. And that's why we have dua. Dua is to make you see different laws or different ways. Maybe because of dua you take certain vitamins and you were cured from certain diseases. Or maybe you were going to get infected at work. He made you have maybe a small car accident and you went back to home. Maybe what was waiting you over there, disaster. في هون لطف, the mercy of God. But I'm talking typical laws. What? For every action, there's a reaction. We have laws. Okay? And that's why we read in the Quran, for instance, if you take a look at this, وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ, this is Surah Hud, verse 101. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. English translation, وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ. So we go with which translation you want? Anyone? Sarwar. وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ أَنفُسَهُمْ كَانُوا يَظْلِمُونَ. So we were not unjust to them, but they were unjust. You are not exercising. You are eating lots of food with cholesterol issues. You start building up heart attack. That's God's problem? Tell you, yeah, but Allah, He could have prevented it. Yeah, but that's not usually the normal case. The normal case is what? For every action, there is a reaction. Okay, if you go to another ayah, okay, وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ وَمَا ظَلَمْنَاهُمْ وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا هُمُ الظَّالِمِينَ. Another ayah will make it much clearer. It says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ, I'm sorry. It says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. And this is Surah, for instance, Al-Anfal, verse 35. ذَلِكَ, God does not change the favor that He has bestowed on a nation unless that nation changes what is in its soul. Yani, if you do not take the initiative and you do not change, you are going to be going through regular what? Laws. Back to for every action, there is a reaction. Dua, sadaqah, those might help, but also you have to do your tangible, exercises and due diligence. Clear? So when it comes to natural disaster, what's bad for you could be good for others. You tell me, yeah, but 50,000, passed away. First of all, God will compensate them. Secondly, you do not know. Maybe if those survived, maybe they would be bad people. Maybe they would be suffering. Okay. Third, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will compensate them way more than this limited life. How long we are going to stay in this life? 100 years? Allah will give them Jannah infinite numbers of zillions and zillions and zillions of years. So you compare that to a couple years, you say, oh, it's not worth it. Third, 50,000, but maybe those people, it's their mistake. They are sitting in the wrong area. Yani, we have always hurricanes coming through this, directory. You always build your house on that beach, and hurricane every year destroy your house, and you start nagging. Ya Habibi, move somewhere else. Why should I keep paying you because of my federal taxes? Why? Go move somewhere else. Why you have to enjoy beach, okay, view, and I have to pay for your, problems? I'm assuming this. I'm not me, I'm saying. Okay? That's another reason. Fourth reason. Maybe without this disaster, natural disaster, Earth could have created more complex things and millions of people got killed. You tell me, Sheikh, but this is not fair. I said it is not fair, but who told you you have the right to exist anyway? Yani, did you give permission to God to exist? Allah, because of His mercy, He made you up. And He is telling you, this life is limited. If God, we don't have any concept, this is the fifth or sixth factor. We don't have any idea or concept in Islam that says this life is perfect and eternal. We don't have this. Always God said, this is imperfect place. It is a bridge to go to eternity. So therefore, do not assume everything you face or confront in this life as ultimate life for you. No. This life is not perfect. And that's why in the hereafter you see perfection, no disease, no problems, no issues, no natural disasters, no Big Bang, okay? Who knows that? They say, maybe universe might be shrinking again. Who knows, what's going to happen to upcoming generations. No wars. Peace. لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. لا يسمعون في يوم القيامة. الجنة is about what? سلام. سلام قولا من رب رحيم. So here it is different. Allah from the beginning, He is telling you, I evolved you, and made you better than any animals. Go check what's happening to animals. I gave you so many advantages. I gave you the soul. The body you are suffering from is going to die, is going to perish, is going to vanish. But your soul is going to what? Be rewarded. So why always you are relating your rewards to tangible things and you are forgetting about what? The other spiritual dimension that is not going to vanish or die. Your soul is not going to die. So those are some of the arguments. Some of the arguments. So some of it has to do because of our work. Because, sometimes the pollution that the humanity is causing and, it is making in the nature is causing what? Problems to other human beings. Because maybe of nanotechnology, in the area, you might end up having weird diseases that we never heard of. Maybe because of genetic engineering and MGO, maybe we are seeing this and that. I'm not here a doctor. I'm a doctor, but in different field. I'm not in biology. So therefore, every case has to be studied by itself. But is it fair to say God is unjust? No. Because first, God explained this is not perfect place. Second, I will compensate you. Third, sometimes, brothers and sisters, I did not mention this before in one of those factors. Sometimes pain create better generation. Because they say no pain, no gain. Through hardships, communities start inventing things, seeking knowledge, getting better, improving their lives. This is very important. Because if everything were to be easygoing, peaceful, you are not going to see any initiative to get better, to be innovative, to be creative, to work hard, to compete, and just name it. So those are some of the reasons. Al-Adl al-Ilahi is a very important subject Inshallah, in our next meeting, we'll discuss it more and more. But overall, we as Muslims, Sunnah and Shia, we believe that God is just. And if there is any problem you see, it's either related to limited universe, limited laws, or it is related to our bad choices, or it is related to the better good. But God never created evil, because evil is something relative. There is nothing called evil 100%. And I gave you so many examples about this. Okay? Yes, the only thing we can argue is about the shaitan. But the Quran said, even shaitan, إِنَّ كَيْدَ الشَّيْطَانِ كَانَ ضَعِيفًا. Shaitan is very limited. Shaitan will never take your hand to do something haram. It's your weak will that's doing it. Shaitan is just a marketing agent. Now, if you go to the court, why did you kill that person? Oh, Shaitan told me. What are you going to say? Take him to the prison. Because Shaitan does not do that. Shaitan is just a marketing agent. And it is like a friction that sometimes you need it to get better. If there is no friction between your tire and the ground, guess what? The car will never stop or move, because the wheel will keep rotating same place. Sometimes you need that friction. That's in a very simple, analogy. If you have any questions about Al-Adl Ilahi, I'm more than happy to help. And the last thing I want to emphasize on it, yes, we as Shia Muslims, we believe Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah, out of His mercy, might let everyone go to Jannah. It's up to Him. But Allah will never turn down His promise. He fulfills His promise that He promised His good people to go to Jannah, and He will never put this down. Some school of thought, they might question this, but according to Shia, if Allah is promising you something good, He will fulfill that promise. But if He warned you about something bad, it's up to Him to punish or not, because He is merciful. في عنا what we say in Arabic, when it comes to Jannah, we call it al-wa'd. Allah yafi bil-wa'd. But when it comes to al-nar, al-wa'id, it's up to Allah to be just with us or merciful. And here we stop it. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.